Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're live. We're back in Plastic Hype number 8. It's been a while. Well, I've been sick for a while, so travel over to London. Didn't get a chance to visit Warhammer World. For the people who know about that, Warhammer World. That is. Anyway, I'm back, and since a few weeks ago, I've just been sick. I figured no one wanted to watch a show where people just the presenters just coughing all the time. So I spared everyone from it. I rested and rested, been on antibiotics, and here we are. So instead of talking about me and the problems I had before, let's talk about the show here. So what we do here in the Plastic Hype show is, it's basically a half an hour presentation and talking about new Age of Sigmar stuff out there, crowdfunded projects that gives me plastic hype, gets me excited about plastic and the fun stuff. And every 2 weeks or so, I try to cover new projects like this. And sometimes I try to invite hosts onto the show and talk about various topics, Warhammer or others. But, it's been a while. So I acknowledge that I've taken a break. Anyway, let's try to get it back and running. I'm not 100% yet, so I may not be speaking coherently, but I'm going to try my best and push my love and my energy out to the world of the plastic hype community. And here we are. So this week we're going to be talking about Seraphon because that's all the hype right now in the AOS world. Anyway, we'll talk about that. And then there's also a couple of projects that I'm excited about, so I want to talk about those as well. And welcome to Plastic Hype and friends. Here we go. Yeah. So in the first half of the show, we talk about Age of Sigmar, generally Games Workshop related products. That's in the Age of Sigmar world. That includes Age of Sigmar game, Warcry, Underworld, or anything that uses the Age of Sigmar world, the lore, and all of that. And then the second part of the show, we usually pick a couple of projects that I love. And this week, we can talk about the second edition of Company of Heroes and also, excuse me. Now there's the problem of life. When I cough, it also shows life. And Aeon's Trespass. But anyway, without further ado, let's dive right into it and we'll talk about it soon. All right. Okay. So let's go. Now, what have we got here? First of all, is the hype. Is my number one hype that I'm most excited about. So put it at the front. And for the people who are interested watching the show just for this part, well, here we go. We're going to talk about the new Seraphon. And of course, we're going to do a pricing analysis as well. Like for a lot of people like myself who's interested to start this new army, very good looking new army, exciting piece of kit. We're going to talk about that. And there are a few box sets out there. So I'm going to take a couple to dive into the value of them, just kind of give you a suggestion of what I think might be a good way to start or what's not a good way to start. But before we get to that, let's have a look at the new models. So as of this weekend, we can all pre-order the Seraphon models. And of course, that comes with a new tome as well. So for the people who pre-order this box with the army box that came out about a month ago, I think around now you can put your code in to redeem your digital tome. So that's cool. Now, what else? What have we got? So we've got a whole bunch of new models coming from GW. I've got some of these on the screen here. I've got good old Slan. So he's a new model. He looks kind of the same, but cooler. More detail in this one. We've got Crowtech, which is a new unit that just came out. We've got the Croxagores. Nice looking new, remodels a new unit of our old yeah, I told you I'm still on antibiotics. So this group of Croxagore is an existing unit, but a new kit for that. And then Star Master, Star Seer, not the Star Master, that's the Star Master. The Star Seer also got an upgrade, and then we've got the Raptidon Riders. So, what are they? Some of these new units, and I think they're good. I probably can't talk about the list in detail yet because, I have read the tome. I pre-ordered the box. I got one from London, So I read through that. I think some of the new units are very cool. There are lots of good material out there on the internet to talk about the list, how viable the new war scrolls are. So do check them out before you go splurge onto even the older units that you once knew that you loved. Maybe it's different now. All right, so definitely check that out. I'll look at the my favorite ones probably Vince's one, and second one. Let me take a step back. I'm going too fast for my own good and for my listeners. So I'll go into the hobby cheating and look at Vince's one on the Seraphon book, and also um, the AOS coach. He did a couple, well, actually more than a couple now, some great videos on the new Seraphon book and how to go through units and whatnot. So I think definitely check them out. But that's not the purpose of what I'm bringing up. I'm talking about the hype of it. I love these models. I want to, I think they're very cool, and I'm sure people want to get them as well. And so let's talk about the path of getting them, which of course goes to pricing. All right, so the hype is real, but the pricing increase is also real, and I guess also the kits have updated and changed. Well, what does that mean? Let's talk about it. So first up, the tome is, I guess, standard 84. 80. I put A here now because I'm talking about Australian dollars. I don't want to confuse anyone who's watching from overseas. So tome standard price in Aussie here is about $84, and these are all GW prices. Yeah. Now, the first one, the interesting one, Slan is now 145, which is a big step up from before. And similarly, the Starseer over here is 98, which is also a step up. I think it's over 20% increase. It's about 30 to 40% if people were trying to buy these a few months ago, if you could get them anyway. And then the new units, Aggregon Riders, I haven't seen those kits yet, so I wouldn't know. They are 105 for 3. And then the Raptidon Chargers I must have got the price wrong. 145? Okay, I'm just gonna quickly fact check that because that looks a bit too expensive. Um, one sec. Right. I don't want to be reporting anything that's wrong. Okay, yeah, okay. So that is incorrect. So I'm going to update this later. The Repton Rider is actually 110, not 145. I think it's a copy and paste error from my Slan. I just copy and paste 145. Sorry about that, people. It's 110, and that comes in a box of 5, right? And typically, you probably want to run more than 5, so you'll be spending at least 200 if you buy them separately. And then Astrolith Banner guy, he's 77, which is a big step up from before as well. And now the new one is the Saurus Warriors, which is, I think, one of the core units in the new Seraphon book. They are 105 now for 10. Oh, ouch. That's not cheap. Now Cortec, you can't your Chortec, you couldn't get it before, so okay, they set 90. I think the model's pretty cool. So because there was nothing out in comparison before, so you're just accepting the unit as it is if you want it. But the other ones some of the other ones here, they have got previous versions of the model. So, are you going to splurge out to get the new ones? I don't know, right? But I'm hyped about how they look and what they are because I don't have any of the old models. I haven't seen them. So that's, yeah. And I think the new kits are very fun to build. And they are better quality. So depends on what you're after. I think for the right units, I would splurge. But yeah, I think it's not a bad idea to splurge on some cool new units that you like. Slan, I think it looks really good. The new Saurus Warriors also looks a lot meaner than the ones before. Yeah, totally. The Star Seer is about the same. I think the previous one had a transparent shaft that holds the whole model up. So this one is cooler in a way, I guess. And it's got feathers. But anyway, minor stuff, but you now pay more. I think some of those models haven't changed that much. So yeah, think about what you want there. I'm sorry, I just realized as I'm talking, I'm just throwing out a lot of words, but not the easiest to listen to. So I'm going to try and improve that for the second half of the show. Okay, now some of the components in the kit have changed. I want to highlight that. So, for example, the Croxagores, which is not on this list here. These guys, these three guys, come in a kit of 3, right? Now, they're 128 bits or components as advertised on the GW site. Now, if I take a similar comparison, which are the double hammer annihilators, I've got one in my hand right here. This guy, their kit comes in 3s as well. I think they're kind of the same. They're heavy hitters. They do a lot of damage and be on the front lines and stuff. These guys only had 56 bits, and the Crocs go up 128. Now, I don't know if the GW website is reporting the right stuff. When I say components, what does that mean? Because it sounds like a lot, like it's more than double of the annihilators. Because the annihilators page, it says 56 bits. Crocs go 128. Now, to give more context and what you're getting yourself into if you buy these new kits, the Slan is 57 bits. So this guy is 57 bits. The Saurus Warriors is now 95 bits. And the Raptidon charges are 89 bits, which is a lot. Now, once again, of course, I've got the pricing wrong here. It's 110 Australian dollars, 145. So you're probably getting a high quality model, but you are paying definitely more. So that's something to consider for people who are starting a new army here. Now let's have a look at the pricing analysis. If you're going to start the army, what's a good way to go? Now, I imagine people who are excited to start Seraphon might be considering getting this new box. New box that came out a month ago. That was on pre-order a while ago. It was delivered a month ago. Now, I just had all the price breakdown here because I thought people would be interested if they're buying a new kit. Because, these are not cheap plastics, so you probably want to spend your resource wisely, as a good January would. So I'm going to quickly go through a breakdown here to highlight why I think this is a great investment. So the retail price of that is $360. You get a battle tome. So the book at the back there is a limited edition cover of the battle tome. The War Scrolls, which is not on sale here yet. Typically, they're about $55. The Slan Starmaster that we just looked at and talked about is $145. The Raptidon charges, well, you can do them both ways, Charger or Hunters. They are just over $100 each. And then these Saurus Warriors, $105. Now, this box, you get 2 of these guys. So that means 2 times 105. Now, if you add them all up with a calculator, it comes to 619. So compare that with the price that you're paying. You're saving $259, which is a significant amount. You can do a lot of things with $259, and that's why I want to highlight that. So, what does that mean for people? I mean, if you are into the market to buy one of these, start a Seraphon army, try to get yourself one of these, and you may or may not want to buy directly from GW store. You can, of course, support your local stores, and you might even get a better pricing on them. So, if you compare these prices to what I had just presented before, the price of that army box is a steal. If there's such a thing, right? I mean, it's more like a concept of spend and save here, but it's a steal. So that's something to think about. All right. Then, would you pick up 2 of these boxes? I don't know. Yeah. So personally, I probably wouldn't, because you would not buy. I think you won't run 2 Slans. You'll run either a Slan or Croc. A Croc is another model as the centerpiece of Seraphon. You probably won't run 2 of these. And Saurus Warriors, they are core, so you might run 20 of them. Sure. The Raptidon Hunters and Chargers, you might not run 20 of these guys. So you might run 10 to 15 if you do. Like some people are saying they haven't been performing very well in their games, and some people think they're fantastic. But because there's such a polarized opinion on how good they are, you probably won't be running 20 or 30 of them, which means if you buy 2 boxes of these, you're only really getting good value in the second set of Saurus Warriors. The other ones you have to trade, which could be a good thing, or it could waste you a lot of time, and yeah, it'll put you off the process. So that's something to think about. But if you have a mate who who are after some of these models, they just want to collect, probably be a good idea to give them one of the new slants at a mate's price. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thought. Okay, then how else would you start a new Seraphon army? Well, you could always pick up one of the old boxes. There are two of these, so you can get the old, start collecting Skinks and Seraphon. Now, I want to talk about this one because the Skinks one, the Skinks model, you can still use, but the Seraphon, this other box, you can't. So let's talk about it. So right now, you can't buy this box in the official store anymore, but there are lots of carriers around the world. I've seen them in London. I've seen them here in Australia. You can pick it up for about 150. All right. So let's talk about what's in it because it looks like such an enticing box for 150. You get 21 models. You get a big dinosaur. I mean, Carnosaur. And that's a cool guy. But let's have a look at the value. So Saurus Warriors, these are the old models. So if you have a look at this model, compare with the screen I just showed you before, they look different. Not only the paint job is different. These paint job, I like these ones better. These ones are in the old box. They're old school. So I mean, you can still play them, but they probably don't look as hot. So knowing that, I would discount their value a bit. You can still play them, but I mean, this is plastic hype. This is not War Scroll hype show. So I discount their value by half, probably. And then let's have a look at the other characters. So in the middle rank here, you see there's some Seraphon that's riding, so cavalry. They're called Saurus Knights. They're no longer in the new book. So you can't use them anymore. And then the Old Blood on Carnosaur, you can still buy that right now in the GW store if they're in stock. They're about 105. So assuming you could use the whole, you would just buy the Carnosaur, so that's $105 in value, plus half the value of the Saurus Warriors, because I mentioned like these old models. So they value probably about 150. Yeah, so I don't think that's that hot. But I guess that is a cheaper way to get into a Seraphon army. If you're trying to get, I mean, beeline to 2,000 points instead of just collecting models and, painting them and enjoying the hobby. That could be a cheaper way to go. But then if you're going that route, you might as well buy them all secondhand, right? So my view, not worth it. Don't get this one. If you're getting the Skinks one, sure, right? You can still use all of them. But yeah, if you're going to start, just buy the army box. Don't buy the start collecting one. Now, why I bring this up is because initially when the army box came out, I thought about whether to buy this box or not. I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad. All right, so that's all on Seraphon for now. Let's move on to the next part of the show, and that is the Dawnbringer. I think this is particularly cool because when I first started the Age of Sigmar hobby, I always thought it's lore plus the plastic bits and the game, right? So lore is a big part of it. And I was reading Dominion, the novel, not the box set that came out, and they were talking about Dawnbringer. Um, what's her name? I've forgotten the main character's name. Doesn't matter. It was a good, yeah, it was a good book. It talked about the people in it and Dawnbringer. What do they do in the world of Age of Sigmar? Dawnbringer are these group of crusaders that braves themselves into the wild where it's filled with death, basically crazy level monsters, and they're probably at a a tier C group of people going through wilds against tier A monsters. I mean, it's brutal, but then that makes their job even more exciting because they are sacrificing themselves for the greater good of the city of Sigma. Very cool. Now, what has been cool since the whole thing came out was Dawnbringer was always just like a backstory they put in the book, but they never really put much into the AOS world in terms of Dawnbringer. Now, finally, they have reviewed new Dawnbringer models, which I think is very cool. Now, if you look at these, they've got good hair, great cloaks, the models are great, and these are supposed to be the finest warriors, amongst the Dawnbringer Crusades, trained, in the academies expert in tactics and the military aspects, and they're hard fighting free guild marshals. All right, so amazing stuff. They're supposed to be veteran in combat, and they bring a lot of the hard won lessons onto the battlefield. So one of these guys is the marshal, and then I think the other guy is a relic envoy. So it's cool stuff. They've got a very nice new look to them. I don't know whether they're going to be a whole new army, sub branch of either cities or even maybe Stormcast. I don't know how it branches out, but whatever, these models are cool. So I look forward to the launch of the new Dawnbringer. I don't know, probably in a few months. Actually, a few months would be great. Give me a break. There's too many new stuff coming out. And go to the next one, another new stuff that came out that I really liked, and that's the Warcry Nightmare Quest. Now, what is cool about this is I think the terrain is fantastic. So if you have a look at the terrain piece here, that is a Realmshaper engine that you get as a part of this terrain. Now, it looks slightly different from the Seraphon's Realmshaper engine, which I might add is out of stock in a lot of places around, like in Australia. It's quite hard to get one retail. You can't buy one from Games Workshop. So maybe you could just buy one from this Nightmare Quest and tell other people this is a direct version of the Realmshaper engine and just count it as a shame raper. I'm going to stop saying that name now. Counted as a real Realmshaper engine. So that's the thing. I mean, besides the cool terrain models, you also get a very cool kit. So I play Stormcast. The Stormcast kit is amazing. So these are questers. I really like the look of them. I haven't built any yet. I really look forward to it. I think the Feck models are kind of cool as well, but Fresh Eater Cords, I don't really care too much about them. However, this is still a very, very cool kit. So it got me hyped up. It's worth mentioning on this show here. All right, next, moving on. Still in Age of Sigmar. We've only got a couple more slides left in this segment. Black Talon animation. It's worth mentioning. You get to watch the first episode for free. Now, I have just watched the second episode this weekend. It's a really good. The second episode's amazing. The first one is good, not as good as the second one. What I'm saying is, check it out. Why not? You get to watch it free right now. It can be found on the Warhammer community page. I didn't just make this up. So do check that out before they remove access to the free episode. Definitely worth checking out. All right. Last but not least, the old world. So the latest thing in the old world is they have just declared what are the core factions. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means these will definitely come up. So if you have armies on those, or you play the Warhammer Total War series and you really like some of these, like myself, I came from Total War Warhammer. Some of these are great. I can't wait to see Tyrion and some other characters that I don't see in Age of Sigmar. So they're coming. They're drip feeding us. I mean, they as in Games Workshop are drip feeding us a bit of information about the old world. I can't wait to see what actually comes up in the end. But for now, we just know some core factions coming up. Great. Alrighty. I've taken over 20 minutes now, so here we go. Let's talk about my favorite hype on the crowdfunded projects now. Company of Heroes, second edition. Now, I came into Company Heroes from the computer game. Yeah. The computer game is, yes, Josh, the old world. Yeah. Can't wait to talk about that in the future shows. Company of Heroes is a computer game that I've enjoyed for many hundreds of hours. This game has been around for a long time. I thought it was a very enjoyable game. Like, you get to blow things up with howitzers, big cannons, more cannons, tanks, cannons, and then a whole bunch of infantry. Whoa, I love this game on the computer. Now, Company of Heroes 3 is out. It's not a part of the Plastic Hype Show because it's a computer game. I don't know about that game. I haven't played that one. But let's get back to this one. I think, based on what I've read, it's a very faithful recreation of the game. So you capture a key objective, you get resources, and from those resources, you get more troops. Therefore, you get your advantage against your opponent. And when you capture X amount of key objectives, you win the game. So, well, what do you get in this second edition game? Well, you get a lot of new component upgrades that you would have to pay extra for, or you just can't get if you buy it from retail. Because this game right now, you can buy it in retail. So if this is interesting, it's actually in the show notes. You can just click on the link below. After the show, please, of course. Do stay here with me until this finishes. Check out some of these components because I think that's very cool. All right. So they've got key factions. You can get Americans, you can get British, you can get Russian, you can get the 2 factions in Germany, and I think there's one that I've forgotten. Anyway, let's move on because I forgot. So there are lots of quality plastics here, which I think it's very cool. Now let's have a look at how it plays. Yeah. So one thing that captured my attention is this game. You can somehow play real time or turn based. What? How does that work? So, well, I don't know. I mean, I've read about it, but I wouldn't believe it until I see it. How do you play both real time and time turn based? But anyway, that got my interest peaked. So I'm really hyped about this one. Yes, I've backed this. Who knows when I'm gonna get it? But yeah, so that's cool, and it's have troops in it as well. So with troops, you can reinforce them with different equipment. So, for example, you get your basic rifleman. You can choose to upgrade certain upgrade kits like a bazooka or pacifist with your troops, or machine guns, heavy machine guns. So as you get different upgrades, you handle different situations. So they faithfully recreated that kind of mechanic in this game as well. So that's very cool. And then, of course, you do have tanks, and you can move around terrains and capture key objectives, build your economy, and then get more tanks, heavy artillery to blow your opponent into a different world. Very cool. All right, now, one of the most exciting thing about the computer game at the time, well, besides all the tank and gunpowder blowing off, was you can have commanders that have special traits. Yeah, it adds different flavor, different bonuses to your game depending on style. So they brought it across into this board game as well. Very cool. All right, so let's talk about pricing because cost is a thing. It's funny now I put these pricing up after I put the Age of Sigmar Seraphon prices up. It's almost insulting. All right, so the core set is $99, and the core set gives you 2-player mode. Now, if you back it during the campaign now, on the campaign page, on the pledge page, after you add them to your cart, you can pick the faction that you want. So if you like the Brits, go for that. If you want to play Russians, yeah, do that. So it doesn't lock you down, which I think is very cool. And of course, gets you all the stretch goals. But then if you just go the next step up for 219, these American dollars, US dollars, you get 4, and you can pick 4 factions out of all the available, I think 5 of them. Very cool. And then you can go nuts and go all in and go as much as you like. So besides these, of course, you can also have add-ons. So I guess the key ones is you can do the terrain pack. I think terrain pack is always good. It gives you buildings, it gives you trees, sandbags, walls, factories. So it gives a lot more of a thematic feel of, I guess. I'm kind of used to Age of Sigmar stuff now. Very cool. And these with the buildings, you can put your little rifleman on top of the second floor of the building to shoot down, with extra cover and stuff. So that's available. That's cool. You can also buy a solo mode for $39. Oh, by the way, terrain packs goes from between $40 to $55. Solo mode is $39. It gives you AI to every single faction. So not just one, all of them. So that's cool. So no matter which one you buy, it can help. I'm thinking about that because I want to play that with Levi. For those of you who haven't seen Levi, we've played some games on our channels before. I think with the AI mode, he'll be keen to play that with me. Well, I'm hoping, right? That's hope. So let's see how we go. And then you can also buy other upgrade kits like some of these other boxes here, like Lost Brigades, Elite Commanders for about $45, extra dice tray for 24, and I think you can buy flags for 16s as well. Right. Okay. Enough about pricing. You get the idea. All right, let's move on. So let's talk about Aeon's Trespass. I think that's very cool. Funny, in a way. One of my Age of Sigmar friends have brought it up before. Asked me about this game. I looked at the page probably a week ago, and I just looked at it and said, "Nah, not interested." Now I looked at it a week after, or maybe like 2 weeks now. It looks so much better, and I think it's definitely worth mentioning. So, what this is this game so far has got about 4 million Australian dollars funded. Very cool. It's the second edition. So the first edition was well loved by many people. In fact, on Board Game Geeks, is scored 9.3. It hasn't made top 100. That's worth mentioning, but it's loved by many. So what is this game? It's a 1 to 4 players cooperative experience. It's narrative campaign based with adventures with a lot of tough decisions based on what I've read, and it's got gorgeous minis. I think the minis do look good, and according to the webpage or the developer of the game, it's got up to 300 hours of gameplay in this in this project right now. 300 hours. What? So I guess you'll be getting your money's worth if you last through all that. So let's have a look a little bit deeper in what it's about and what it looks like. Yeah. So on the left hand side is, I guess you can see all the components that's kind of involved with it. It comes with a lot of cards, and there are of course lots of miniatures. Now let's have a think about what this is. So based on the page, which I've also got a link in the show notes here. Well, the background is it's kind of like an alternative universe in antiquity, which is ancient Greece. So somehow all the Olympian gods died from a cataclysmic event and unleashed the primordials. And so what happens is a group of special people, they call the Argonauts, the players. We are either warriors or scholars, and we have unique abilities to control titans. And apparently, we can control 30-foot titans. So if you've seen anything like Attack on Titans, I guess is something like that. So that's cool. And so what you do is you sail ships, explore, build facilities, you research technology like lots of the other games do. You craft new weapons, equipment, engage in diplomacy, and kill giant monsters, which is controlled by AI system. Okay, and some of the miniatures apparently are 6 inches tall, so it's as tall as Marathi. I guess some of these miniatures at the back are like this big. Like I don't know if you can see my huge, right? Who knows if it's really that big or not, but sounds cool. So I guess the idea is you are this tiny figure fighting against these gigantic monsters, and you control bigger titans to fight against them. All right, okay, that's cool. So you do travel a bit. So there's a lot of exploration and boss combat and research and stuff. So it's like a many games in one. No wonder why they say it's worth 300 hours. Now, how do those 300 hours distribute? I don't know. I hope it is not 100 hours of setting up and packing up and then 200 hours of actual gameplay, of which 100 hours you're thinking about which to upgrade. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to expect because I haven't played the original, but this has me hyped. Yeah. So let's talk about the pricing and how much it costs. Right. Based on what they have on their website now, you can buy the base pledge of this campaign for 129 US, and that's supposed to give you 150 hours of gameplay by itself. Pretty cool for $129. If the game is good, why not? You can barely start a 500 point Seraphon army for that price. Go figure. All right, and then the next pledge is Odysseus. So you get the original flavor of the game for 299, and then if you go all out, it's 647. And then I think there are lots of different add-ons you can buy. You can even buy a special limited pledge if that's the thing. It's got a lot of question marks on it, so I didn't read too much about it. But if any of this sounds interesting, you might want to check that out. Now, according to the current set of information, there's I don't know, estimate about 30 to 50 pages worth of content on that Kickstarter page. That's how much detail they've got into the game. What does that mean for us? I think that means the game already works. It's out there. A lot of people love it already. That's why they can put up so much good content on it. It's really rich in content. Like they're not hiding things. They're telling you every cycle, which is like an age, I guess. Every campaign, what kind of stuff you could expect. Who are the main characters? What's the story setting? So there's a lot of stuff. And if that's interesting, I reckon the 129 version is definitely worth it. So I'm going for that one. Yep. The Odysseus, maybe. I think that's too much. 300 hours of gameplay sounds really good on paper. Can I find a group? Can I even get Levi to play 150 hours on this one game while there are other things competing for attention? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So, before you make your decision, let's also have a look at the shipping price. Now, I'm proud and very happy to say, for once, for in this project, shipping to Australia is in fact cheaper than shipping to Asia. Boom, mic drop. All right, I'm gonna leave that one at that. So, what have I been up to? Well, I'm still playing Frosthaven. Frosthaven's still a thing. I'm still doing that with Levi. I think we have done about 10 missions. I think just 10, over 10 missions now. Going very slowly. It's a huge game for the people who have never played it before. If you can find a buddy, or you can control a couple of characters, you have a lot of table space. It's totally worth it. Totally worth having a go. So that's that on the board game side. In the EOS world, I recently just painted up finally my Praetors, and I put them to battle against Soulblight Gravelord, my friend Josh, who was just saying old world is the hype before, and he completely destroyed me. Yep, his Soulblight Gravelord killed me, I think, in a match of 26 to, I don't know, 12 points. I was running Gardas, running on Andraste. I just wanted to run the new questers, and I wanted an Andraste to be able to bring one of them back. So that was the whole premise of my army, and it didn't do very well. Anyway, it was fun. It was still fun, and I learned a lot about Soulblight Gravelord, so that's cool. And well, what else am I doing? I am also putting in some new models together. So I've got I don't know if you can see my hand here. Who recognize this? Maybe I can run like a competition. Yeah, when this show gets a bit more popular with more live audiences, maybe we can run some competition. Who's this guy? Well, I've just put this Chaos Lord on Crocodrak. Oh, ow! I just poked myself. This guy is so sharp. So I just put him together, but I'm not going to start the ST Slave Darkness Army yet, because the next thing I want to do is actually these guys. Now, who recognized this model? If you could see it, if you could see that, yeah. What is this guy? Well, he's a killer boss. Yep. And these guys, these very good-looking green men. I don't know if the light changes the color of it. This is a yeah, this is a boat boy from Crew Boys. The models look very cool. Now I know they're like the worst rated army currently in the whole AOS world, even worse than Fresh Eater Courts. I don't know how they manage that. But okay, they play terrible, but the models are very cool. So I think I'm gonna work on the next. That's my next project. Yeah. All right. Towards the end of the show now, let's have a look at what we've got this month for community shout out. Well, Dougie from Too Tough. Did I spell his name wrong? I'm sorry. Yep. I think that was an auto complete or just me mistype. So Doug from Too Tough. He talks about lore of Age of Sigmar. Real good guy. I really like his deep voice. I'm so sorry, man. I don't know why. What's the H doing there? So it's Doug from Too Tough. He gives great narratives in the Age of Sigmar world. So for anyone who's getting in the game, or you have friends that's getting in the Age of Sigmar, part of it, of course, the armies and how it looks and the mechanics of it. But another part of it is the lore. And this guy does amazing content on his channel to talk about different background, different lore about the Age of Sigmar world. So here I mean, just on his page here, I took a screenshot of it. He's talking about the story of Age of Sigmar so far. Talk about the Soul Wars, which is a huge event inside the Age of Sigmar world, and then he's also talking about lots of different factions. So I remember when I was building my Sylvaneth army, I was listening to his Sylvaneth lore breakdown. Very cool stuff. And that is what we have for the show for you this week. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have anything you'd like to see, please leave us a comment. It would help a lot if you do actually like and subscribe at some point to support the channel. So right now I am working on a battle report from a one-day event for back in May when we it was Dice Arcade. Sorry, just had mind blank. It was Dice Arcade. And it's 3 games, and I'm trying to put that battle report together for my Stormcast army. So that's what I'm working on. And if you like this kind of stuff, yeah, please check it out. It'll mean a lot if you like and subscribe. So sorry about the lighting today and about my voice. I'm probably a little bit all over the place. And the lighting's a bit weird today because my light here over there just broke. It just refused to work today. So the lighting's a bit off, and the algorithm's cutting side of my face really weird. So anyway, you can still see me. So there you go. Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you again in the future, and roll some sixes and happy gaming. See you next time.